Just waiting for Karina to join. It's tidy. Hey Kim, where is Karina? Hi guys, just waiting for Karina to log in and chase her on WhatsApp. Right, let me put a message. Here we go.
Hello.
Hey. I've got someone asking me to ask you a question in Polish, but there's no way I'm going to be able to say that.
It's basically asking me, what the fuck am I?
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I just went out for a walk actually. It's super bloody windy.
Almost out.
I was out. I went to the co-op. Cheers.
What? You were out? I'm so jealous.
It's so busy. So I was walking back and the queue for Wilko, the hardware store, had about 200 people in it. It's crazy. What do you need that badly that you're going to queue in with 200 people? Amazon Prime. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Well,
that's the only thing we can do. Go to the shops. So I get it. We're like almost putting makeup on to go to Tesco.
I've only started putting makeup on to do these lives and I actually look human every day now instead of like the first 5 weeks. I just looked like something else. But thank you for joining us. I think I've had a lot of questions for this one because I think everybody, obviously the bikini is probably the second most stressful thing, right? The first one is, are you in condition? And then the next one that you think about before you even start dieting is what bikini you're going to wear. So I think that people will really find value in your little chat because Sparkle Bikini rocks.
Thank you.
What made you come up with what made you want to start Sparkle? Because obviously you were competing at the time.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason why Sparkle actually has started was the fact that at that time on the market, there was not a single bikini which provided padding.
Mm-hmm.
So for many of the girls that had the breast augmentation, it wasn't really an issue. But for rest of us that are losing their boobs on their fitness journey, and you guys gonna hear me here, there was no other option. So this is how it started, and it actually wasn't I wasn't planning on building like a proper company, if that makes sense. It was just a thing.
Oh no, she's frozen. There we go.
No, I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back, sorry. Yeah, so it wasn't really like a thing that was meant to happen. I think it was a very interesting period of my life when I started it. I was just coming out from working in hospitality. And I was on the kind of back end of working in hospitality with like 70 hours weeks, and I was running hotels and opening restaurants, and it was super stressful. And I was only, I think, 24, 25, being responsible for the outlets that were making millions, and I wasn't in kind of the best mind to continue to do so. So I saved up the money. I had always like a little bit savings on the side, and but this at this time also my partner was in a very good situation, which allowed me to kind of risk it basically, because we weren't paying any rent at the time. The flat we were living at this time, it was paid by his company. So the only kind of things you have, it's like your bills for car insurance and like your phone, which is, you know, which is great if you do kind of want to start your company and your overheads are so low. So I wasn't under the pressure to make a lot of money. And yeah, this is how it started. And the company itself grown so much, which was a little bit overwhelming at this time in many ways, because I was obviously competing so much myself, and it takes a lot to create shapes and patterns, and a full understanding of something can look good on my body, but it doesn't really mean that it's going to look good on your body. So it was a lot of trial and error and a lot of wasted fabric.
I bet.
But yeah, this is how it started, and it really took off, and it definitely allowed me to kind of get in bodybuilding what I needed to be, because I built my business around competing, and also it allowed me to live the lifestyle that I was like kind of what I needed to do to get to Olympia and, you know, all the other things. And so it was probably like, I don't know, like the universe had its plan to do it, and I feel I just took it just happened really. This is sometimes, especially when your line of work is what you like to do, it just happens. You don't really think about it as a job. So that's how it started.
Now look at you. I do honestly, like, I've worn sparkle at every single show I've ever done, and then the one time that I thought about going somewhere else, I had such bad experience that I came running straight back, didn't I?
That's how we become friends on the
SOS. Please, God help me. I can always just remember you at midnight. I'd only met you once, and you're on FaceTime on midnight showing me the 2 bikinis that I could borrow, and I was just like, this is not the customer service that you get anywhere else. You know, we were not friends at the time. And it definitely sets it apart. But for me and the people that I speak to, the biggest difference for us is the cut of the knickers is always very flattering. Like, I remember freaking out when you sent me my bikini for finals, that it was too small. There was you told me you'll thank me when you get your pictures back. And I look at my rear pose compared to the girls next to me, and I'm so glad I had that pro cut instead. And none of the crystals fall off, which is actually, you know, you sounds like it goes without saying, but from what I hear, and especially from the girls who used to wear other bikinis that now come to Sparkle, like, you're literally showering the floor when you put your bikini on sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we always say that 1% of the crystal it will just fall off. It's just like the nature of the fabric. You need to kind of remember that we put the crystals on, like also the elastic parts of the bikini that you need to get into. So I always say 1% is totally normal. So if you have like 2,000 stones and 20 will fall off, it's you know, it's fine. It's fine, girl. You're gonna still shine. It's all good.
So there's obviously lots of different kinds of crystals. And I was hoping that you could explain, because not everybody can afford the Swarovski, right? Which is obviously the most mind-blowing, amazing effect on stage. So what would be your advice for the girls that are trying to have a beautiful bikini but on a lower budget?
Well, so we have a few options really. So at Sparkles, I've decided to work with Swarovski, and like I can't say the name.
Yeah, the non-branded ones. Yeah.
Well, it's still very good brand, but I don't want to say the name for obvious reasons. But it's all the majority of the thing you want to ask if you kind of doing if you're buying bikini, is it a glass crystal? So Swarovski is the glass, which makes shine so much more. So as long as they glass, they might have less cuts on the surface, which means they're gonna like shine, let's say, a little bit less, but it's still gonna be glass. You don't really want to have a plastic bikini ever. So even let's say if you only have £200 to spend on your bikini, you would be better off literally having either glass crystals or Swarovski, but just don't go into plastic. It's just not worth it. It's literally not worth your money, because once you look up close, yes, you might seem, oh, I'm gonna have so much, I've got so much crystals, but it's just not gonna do the job on the stage. So it's pretty much pointless. The other options we've got, it's also our bikinis we've got in stock that we are making for all the kind of emergencies that are out there, and like yourself. And I mean, I've kind of learned that even for my clients, sometimes we make mistake, or they make mistakes with the measurements, or like the things like the prep didn't, whatever. Or like you doing PCA one weekend and your coach says to you, hey, let's do IFBB 2 bros next weekend, and like you're left with totally wrong cut of the bikini. This is the reason why we have like a larger in stock, ready to ship bikinis for that kind of situations. So it also takes the pressure off us. So like you're never left without bikini, basically. Even if I send you the bikini and it's made to the measurements that you've ordered and that you show us on Saturday, it's like whatever, and like you're still not fitting into it, I'm not gonna leave you hanging without the bikini ever. Like,
I know of so many people that have had bikini emergencies, and then all of a sudden they're in a sparkle bikini,
I mean,
things snap,
for sure,
right, as well.
I mean, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, and I mean, you can change the federation, or like the bikini, it's not what you thought it's gonna be, and like there's loads of other things. Sometimes girls also get a feedback on the spot saying, oh, hold on. Sorry.
Sorry. Your halo is not in the picture.
Oh, I've lost my thought. I mean, there's so many situations happening, and sometimes it's also like a feedback when you're doing, let's say, you're trying to qualify, or you're fighting for your pro card, and your feedback can be like, oh, I'm not really sure about this pink or red bikini, let's see something else, and like you have 3 days. Like, do you know what I mean?
That does bring me to one of the questions I was asking. It was tips for your hair color when you're choosing your bikini. So obviously for me, for example, with red hair, we're quite limited to what suits us. So it's easy for us to choose a color, because there's probably only 4 that really look good. But for somebody that's got like hair like your color, for example, would look so good on a lot of colors. What do you have? Because it ties into a second question, actually. So it's tips for hair color versus bikini. And what do you think about white bikinis?
White bikinis is an absolutely no. Not only, I mean, sometimes we're doing like a white crystal bikinis for WBFF girls, but we actually make it on like a transparent fabric, and then we put crystals on it, so you think it's white, but it's not actually white. First of all, it's just staying like a bitch. And by the time you put your pants on, half of the bikini is already dirty. So for me, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's just too big of a difference between your skin color and I'm just not a fan. I will do it if you want.
The tan.
I don't think so. I mean, even when I had the WBFF girls, I was always like, look, let's do it on the skin fabric. And then we can, so at least the edges are not going to look ruined by the time you get it on, and you won't be able to see it. With all the dark skin girls, from like even like the mix beautiful like caramel colors of the skin, but it's obviously that like it gets deeper with the stage tan. Sometimes you can try more like greeny, light green colors, but that's a probably, and like oranges that can complement your skin, but it's dangerous zone you're getting into. And I just don't think the risk is worth it. Like you might get it so wrong that I don't think it's worth it. For blondes, some colors can look very sexy. And if your style of posing and if your persona on the stage is sexy, if you're blonde with the red suit, it can also be a dangerous combo. Like generally speaking, like blue, green, purple, red, this is probably what I would mostly go. The shade, we can always vary. We can add different crystals and we can play with the tone and make sure we get that right. But like generally speaking, you have to be kind of careful where you're going. But the best way to see what color is going to suit you, it's actually go through your normal photos, like in normal life, and see what does complement your skin and like how do you feel best as well.
Yeah, I think that you just have to work with the bikini maker as well. Like I remember coming to you and saying, I wanted the bombshell cut because that's the kind of bra I wear, right? I don't wear the triangle.
That's true, yeah.
And then the size as well. You gave me a completely different size to what I would have ordered because you know what is more flattering. And also the color, you know, like I had no idea. I just let you do it, and I'm just going to let you do next one as well. You know, because that's your job, and you've seen so many other people that share the same complexion as me, or the other people that what works and what doesn't. Sometimes it's surprising what doesn't work, you know, like I think that point that you made about being sexy really makes a difference in some federations, because some federations, they're meant to be a bit sexy, and you know, like the WBFF and even like Pure Elite, they do market themselves like that. But I know for PCA and IFBB, they want them to look classier, you know, and showcase themselves in a more gentle way, I think. We want to see. Would you talk about the different cuts for the different boobs? Because that really learned a lot that time from you. Because I just thought bombshell's going to look fine, you know. I had an ill-fitting bikini I'd tried on before that wasn't bombshell and just squished my boobs together, and it just looked like a bum on my chest. And I thought that if I had a more bra looking one, it wouldn't do that, but obviously it's padded, the bombshell.
Yeah, I mean, mostly this is a tricky one because there's so many girls crossing over now within the federation. So yeah, I really feel for them, because each kind of federation has got their own style of bikini, which I understand, but I will still always say go with whatever makes you look good and whatever makes you feel good. Yeah, because I mean, especially in Europe, for example, we still see girls with like no connected bottoms winning IFBB pro cards because they just look the best on the day. It's not necessarily what the federation wants them to wear on the day, but they still have the best body and they still have the best look. Yeah, which can be very confusing then for other girls, being like, well, I've seen this girl winning the pro card and she didn't have the cut you recommended, and all of that jazz. With the bras, generally speaking, if you if you're in double D's, even if you're like 30 double D, or like 34 double D, it doesn't really matter. But if you're generally in double D's, I would say triangle only, because the amount of the underwire that has to go underneath the boob to scoop it out, it's massive, and you're just gonna ruin kind of your proportions. So like especially double D's girls, I'm like, I can make you the bra, but it's just not gonna look the way you think it's gonna look, because if you think about it, when you have the stage bra, it's not like our bra that sometimes we like having half of the boob covered pretty much by the nipple, which is a bombshell, which is a no-go for the stage, because your boob is going to be out, and then in your side pose you're going to like lift your shoulder and like your nipple's going to come out. This is as simple as that.
I do see a lot of the girls wearing bombshells. It just doesn't sit on the rib cage properly either. So it is in that side pose especially, just gapes open, whether you've got boobs or not, you know. And I really felt like I was one of the only people in some of my shows on stage that my bikini just fit to my rib cage because I didn't have the bombshell.
I think there's a few factors. The other factor is that most of the girls, they don't really know how to put the stage bikini on. Stage bikini, it's not your beach bikini.
Yeah.
That you just go in, you're like, and off you go. It's like the amount of adjustment needed for the bra to look good, like to perform all the things we're doing on the stage, and like to sit above the rib cage, it's like we don't do it at the beach. Let's just be clear here. So sometimes it's just a matter of not adjusting the padding well enough and not tying the knots tight enough.
Yeah.
And just, you know, because the tongue get ruined and stuff like this. So sometimes it's not just a matter of like bikini not being good or sized well, but also like you forever changing your shape. So sometimes girls leave the bikini for another season because they obviously cost so much money, whereas it doesn't suit you anymore because you've changed your body.
Yeah.
So
I find myself, I tape myself in completely because I don't want any mishaps. So I never ever put my bikini on alone. I have it on alone until I'm ready to tape. And then I have one or two people there making sure I'm symmetrical, you know, like one boob isn't up here and wasn't, because you don't see it yourself, do you? And they make sure that it's tied exactly in the middle of your spine and just make sure it's on properly. And it takes 5 minutes, you know, just to put your bra on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, the other thing is, which I really like the movement of recycling bikinis, especially like for the first timers. And this is probably what I shouldn't have said as a business owner, but for me as a competitor and as a person that actually knows a little bit about the sport is, I would say if you're a first timer, definitely like pre-loved bikinis, it's the way for you.
Yeah.
Or I think there's some like Facebook pages where you can buy secondhand bikinis.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not Corona, I promise. It's just the water.
Does Corona live on bikinis? Asking for a friend.
The only thing I would say with buying secondhand bikinis, I mean, we have a pre-loved section also on our Sparkle website, which is mostly our sponsored girls that we then we're selling, and then we know how many times they've been used, because to this date, and we're in 2020, on Facebook pages, I can see girls reselling bikinis of Sparkle from 2015. And I know it because every year we're changing the labels with different, like for the customers, it's not really noticeable because the logo hasn't changed since we started. But we're changing the labels every year for us to know when the bikini was made. So to this date, I can see girls reselling Sparkle bikinis as only worn twice. From 2015 and in 2020. So to this, I would say just make you need to kind of make a full decision of where you're buying. But for the first timers, I would say don't spend £400 on a bikini because you don't even know if you're going to like it. I mean, if you can afford it, then it's great. Like, I mean, superb. But for most of the girls that are getting into the sport, I would say there's really no need. And then if you hooked on the sport, then invest. And I would say you do want to have an advice of based on what federation you're going to do, to what cut you're going to have and what's going to suit you, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think that for me, like the second-hand bikinis, people don't realize that no matter how muscular the girls are on stage, kind of roughly the same size. So, you know, when you see XS and S, and I'm usually a medium, so I'm like, that's never going to fit me. But generally, they're quite stretchy anyway, aren't they? Apart from the bras. As long as the bra fits you properly, the pants are generally the same size. Although I
pretty much, yeah.
Because I've got such long legs. I think especially the shorter girls, they can all fit into these tiny little ones. I just remember I wanted longer at the side because I like wearing mine really high. And then I needed a much wider connector because my boobs were so squished. And that's the benefit of going brand new, is that you can customize it like that for your body. But I've worn I bought my first Sparkle was secondhand and probably didn't fit me properly, but no one else could tell, you know. It's just I didn't like the way it looked because I don't like my boobs squished together on my rib cage. But I still won my show. The color looked amazing on me, and actually it wasn't even fully crystalled because I didn't know if I was going to like PCA or even wanted to compete again after that season, so I didn't want to drop 400 pounds, you know, whereas the next season I was like, take all of my money, you know, because I knew I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it really depends on what's your kind of outlook for the sport as well, and what's your budget and what can you work with, and how serious you are about it.
Could you give people some tips about measuring themselves? Because no matter what, I can watch a step-by-step video and I still don't know how to measure for the bottoms properly. Because, you know, they want you to measure round. From where, though? From the top of the butt crack? Or do you know what I mean? Like where you're...
No, I don't. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't really use those measurements because it doesn't, like, it changes so much.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to measure the things that are not changing, like this, like how wide your hips are.
Yeah.
Like whatever you size 8 or 10 and you're trying to go on the stage, like your hips measurement, like in between the hip bone from the inside, won't change. And I usually, if girls have a problem, I just set the video consultation and I just do them with them.
Okay.
Most of the time, with the orders, I try to kind of travel around the UK and get the measurements myself, because it's just much easier. And then also girls can try it on, and then if they say, no, I'm pretty sure this is going to look amazing, I'm like, try this on. Have a look in the mirror, come back, and let's talk about what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I was really surprised at the bra sizing difference because I wear a D cup usually. I expected to wear a C on stage, but you gave me a B and it fit perfectly. And that was really surprising.
Yeah, the most of the thing is that everybody kind of liked a different coverage. So my actual triangle size before I had my breast augmentation done was bigger than when I had them done, because I was okay with like having a little bit of boob visible. So it's also like, this is a big difference, that if you have no boobs and I give you a big triangle cap, it will cover what the boobs should be, kind of thing. And and then we're obviously going to pat it out probably that much. If you are a D cap but you have an implant, and obviously that's never going to go. We paid for it, it stays there. Then I can give you a B cap without any padding, and it's going to look nice because an actual boob, it's filling their caps. So I wouldn't be so kind of like fixated on the bra sizes, because when I have girls asking for bikinis, I'm literally asking them, like, how much boobs are you okay with to have visible on the stage? Because if you're on the shyer side, I will give you a C cup, which will be bigger and it will cover more boobs. And that's what you want if you are okay with like a little bit on the side boobs to be visible, and like having a cleavage, and obviously the boobs being a little bit squished to have that nice shape over there. And you're okay with it, you're gonna be, you know, I'm gonna give you a smaller cap because I know this is kind of the look you want. And the same with the bottoms. Some girls, I mean, the pro, like IFBB pro, the bottoms I had at Olympia, it's I had to like look for them in my suitcase, you know. I was like, where are they? But at the same time, like this is like a pro league.
Yeah.
And as an amateur, you can't really. This is the other thing, that the bikinis that we made for the pro girls with well-developed glutes,
yes,
with well-developed physique, I can have a tiny bottoms because my actual muscle is there.
Yeah.
So it will complement me in a way. And I also stand on the stage with everybody else wearing exactly the same coverage of the fabric on the back.
Yeah.
But if you're an amateur and I will give you tiny innie pants with zero glute development, it will actually highlight the fact that you don't have the glutes.
Yeah.
So I would say like 1/3 of like a Brazilian scoop, which is most of the time the most complimenting cut for the girls.
So somebody's asked me about coverage, crystal coverage, because obviously a lot of us go full coverage because it's more eye-catching, but that doesn't suit everybody's budget. So what, in your opinion, would be the lowest coverage that you think is still quite eye-catching?
Probably half. I mean, don't get me wrong. Also, can I just say that most of the girls, bikini needs to complement you, but it's not the bikini that's winning your show.
Yeah.
So you can see it all throughout the any federation, that as long as the cut is good and it's a good cut, you actually don't have to have like gazillion crystals on it.
Yeah. I've seen some beautiful bikinis that are not full coverage.
And for like small triangle cups, I would say I don't really like to do like the full coverage because it makes the fabric really stiff.
Yes.
And especially when you have a lot of padding, that's gonna kind of, the fabric's gonna sit weirdly. And the same with the no connectors bottoms. You also don't want to have 100,000 crystals on there because the fabric's gonna go stiff and it's not gonna complement your bum.
Oh, it's happened to me actually. It made it look like a boy's posing pouch because it just didn't have the elasticity. That was with the other bikini company. So, I mean, that's why I messaged you. Like, what do I do? Because I could have stuffed down there. But it was so stiff.
Yeah, I mean, it does change. Yeah, it's a no. So I would say like a full coverage, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Even like, to be putting this into perspective, that even my bikini for Olympia wasn't full coverage that I can sometimes see because I want the fabric to be able to move. That's one thing. And two, I don't want fabric to become stiff and become like air pockets between the crystals and the fabric, which means you pretty much look like you've got a little penis.
That is what it looked like. You don't need those kind of rumors flying around, you know.
You really don't. No, I don't think it's a good rumor to be flying around. But I mean, especially with the bottoms, with Sparkle, we never put crystal by crystal by crystal because this is pretty much where you guys feel like the crystals are falling off.
Yeah.
Because like some part of the fabric must stretch.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as that. You can't really expect like bottoms magically appeared on your body. Like you have to put them on and they have to stretch. So that's my advice.
I'd like to ask you more about the fabrics actually, because I never know which base to choose. So obviously you can have a velvet or the lycra. It is lycra.
Yeah, I mean, it's really personal preference. We don't really see a lot of velvet in tube rows. The bikinis and IFBB Pro qualifiers, the bikinis seem to be mostly lycra, and you have different type of lycra. You can have a hologram, so they're more shiny, or any structure of lycra is fine because it's the fabric that stretches in the 4 directions, which is fine. I would say just go with whatever kind of your federations is saying and just stick to the guidelines, because at the end of the day, you want your bikini to complement your physique, and like you want to be different, but you don't want to be a weirdo on the stage.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You like, you just want to be a little bit different. Like this, to be fair, like I don't think it's actually like you don't have to be that much different. You just need to be something that suits you.
Yeah.
Hence, like even at Olympia, you will see a lot of girls wearing blue, purple, some reds,
Safe
because
colors.
well, you don't really want to risk it. This is the
Yeah.
other thing. Like you want to go, you just want to look nice.
Yeah.
Velvets nowadays we have velvets that are mixed with elastic and lycra, so they also stretch in the four directions. And if you will see that your bottoms doesn't, that means that it's just it's just different type of velvet that I don't really like to work with, because it's just cuts badly on the machine, so it's not much you can do about it.
Yeah.
Which is just not ideal. And velvets are just a thicker fabric. They are. So if you had a velvet bikini with like a round shape, and then you will get, let's say, triangle bikini with connectors, you'll be like, where's the rest of the fabric?
So you remember I was really shook about the size of the bikini bottoms, but I think it's really important to realize a lot of these girls are getting their bikinis really early in their prep, and their glutes are much bigger. You know, they have got so much more to diet off, and they just think, freak out, it's not going to fit, you know, it's too small, and they don't realize how much tissue they're going to lose before.
Yeah,
I was lucky. I mean, I got mine when I was just about to go on stage, so it wasn't so bad. But if I put it on now, it would look like my whole bum is just eating because I'm bigger now, obviously, because I'm not stage lean. I think it's really something that people need to keep in mind if they get their bikini really early, or if they're going to wear it again for the next time. If they're checking in their bikini with their coach, it's not going to look like that on show day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I hear it all the time that the bikini is too small.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have another 8-9 weeks.
Yeah. And in those last 8 weeks, so much change, right?
Yeah, and like
we all think our bone is muscle until it goes. And then you realize just how well placed your fat was.
I mean, don't get me started. Like, as a female, naturally, you're lucky if you put like super lucky. Like if you put maybe 4 pounds of muscle in there. So in between your competing season and off season, if you're putting 25 pounds or 20 pounds, remember, you're very lucky if it's like 4 pounds in a year. And if your off season is 6 months, it's very lucky if it's 2 pounds.
Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. I think that sometimes people have got male coaches that are inexperienced in coaching females, so they just take it for granted that women don't grow at the same rate as men, and then they'll push you and push you. I can just remember having a male coach saying, I want you to get to 70 kilos in the off season, and my off season is really like 65, 66, and I'm too big for my frame, but he just wanted this magic number of 70. And I just said to him, what's the point in getting fat when, you know, it was half a kilo a week. And I was like, I'm never going to be able to come back from this without wrecking myself. But he just wasn't experienced in coaching females. And so now I tend to go for a female coach, just because, and especially someone that has competed themselves, because they understand. And they can also advise you on stuff like bikinis. Male coaches, they're never really going to quite get it, are they? They don't wear a bikini.
Yeah, for sure. I think off season, it's very difficult to manage for all of us. And I would say in general, it's more difficult than competition prep itself. This is a very gray area that I feel like what I can definitely see from social media, I can see from the girls that posting how happy they are to put on X amount of weight and how well they're managing everything. These are the girls that I know personally, they have massive issues with everything.
Yeah, you can never believe what you see online.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties there. Yeah, so
the one thing I still am confused about, because I want to get posing bikini, but then I've got one actually. I've got a sparkle one, but it's the knickers that they're not adjustable, and they only really fit me when I'm towards my stage weight, because I got them when I was prepping. So do you do the bikinis that are like tie at the side? Does that get in the way of your check-in? Like, how do you choose the correct size?
I do them, yeah. I mean, I do the tiny size, but they are tiny. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the bottoms itself are tiny because you need to kind of see your body.
Yeah.
And then you have a long strings that you can use, but it's important that the size that covers your leg bits, it's quite small because, but like you have to remember you're going probably through 2 or 3 sizes changes during your prep.
Yeah.
Like coming from, let's say you're doing, I don't know, a few shows, you've been dieting for 6 months, you're starting as size 10, like a medium. By the time you stage lean, you're extra small.
Yeah.
So like even if you have a little bit of string, it's like your actual posing bikini should be really kind of small because it's pretty much just for you and your coach to see.
Yeah.
So we do them, yeah, of course. But they're small, and they're small for a reason, because it's not like a beach bikini. Again, it's the bikini that serves your purpose to compare your body within the 3 sizes change you when you go into the stage.
Yeah, I need another one then. It's just you put it in and, you know, the fat just goes and you're like, for goodness sake. And I learned, I mean, if I wore a bigger size, I wouldn't feel fat because it fits me, right? It's just the mental game of seeing it and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna wear my normal knickers for this check-in. I have had a question saying, how do you choose your sponsored athletes?
It really depends. For me, the most important thing is what kind of person you are on social media, and it's not about like your achievements, if that makes sense. I need to feel that the girls I'm working with are kind of on the same page of being a very responsible person on social media promoting the sports. Because especially, I mean, throughout my career, it's always been the girls that I felt that are promoting good relationship with food, and even if they're struggling, they're not posting bullshit on Instagram, just being like how good I am, but actually just being like, hey, I'm struggling. You know, I've put on X amount of pounds, and it's always about your honesty and kind of what you want to perceive. We usually do an athlete search twice a year that we promote on our socials, and then we kind of narrow everything down to who we would like to work with. But it's mostly based on what you're projecting online and what your audience is, because realistically you can have 500 million followers, whatever, but if you're posting half naked photos all the time in lingerie and being like, I'm this fitness model, it doesn't really align with what my brand is. So it wouldn't actually make sense for me to work with you, because your audience and what you're projecting online on people, it's so different to what actual sparkle is.
That makes
sense.
It does make sense. So it's more about integrity, really, isn't it? And just representing the same values as Sparkle.
For sure. I mean, it's never about the number of the followers.
It always really annoys me. I've seen other bikini companies saying, anyone that wants to be an athlete that has over 10,000 followers, you know, apply here. And it's like, just because they have 10,000 followers doesn't even mean they have good engagement. And as you said, it could be the different audience than the one that you're looking for. It really annoys me when they do that, because it is just a popularity contest rather than someone who really aligns with the brand and represents them and the sport. You know, you all have the same messaging. So I was asked this about sponsorship, not just for bikini, but just in general. And I was saying you should always align yourself with a brand that you resonate with, and vice versa, right? Because then it's really authentic representation, and you don't have to try and plug a product that you don't believe in, because if people don't trust you, they're not going to buy it anyway. Frog in my throat. The one thing that we haven't covered, which is actually very important, is how long before your show do you need to order your bikini?
It really depends. Again, I love my well depends. If this is your first show, I would say contact me 10 weeks out. And then we'll probably decide on a fabric and crystals and everything else, which means I will get it in stock for you. And then probably about 6 weeks out, I will contact you again for more measurements. And then most of the first timers will pretty much be around, 3-4 weeks out, although they're 6 weeks out, but it's always the first show. So most of the time they almost there, and the girls that are not almost there, then I can have a chat with you, and then I do measurements, and then we post it within the 2 weeks. So we usually have it like 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
If this is your second show, like second bikini, girls mostly know what they like.
Yeah.
And they know their final size. So if I were to make bikini for you now, I could possibly even do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you're gonna fit you in 2 months' time. It doesn't really matter, because I know your body, like I know more or less where you're going to be and what cut and everything else. So it's just a matter of kind of finalizing of what's going to happen instead of actually guiding you and helping you with everything else.
Yeah.
So
I really liked when we made my bikini for last season is how we worked together to do it, because obviously it's your job, you're the boss, you understand what works well together, but I still had an input. I mean, I kind of was just like, make me this, please. But I remember going through like this Swarovski crystal colors that I can't tell the difference between. And you're like, I think we should do this one and this one, and and it was ordered in for my bikini, and I really liked that. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you have to kind of, this is the thing, like I can make anything you want me to, but the other end of it is sometimes even when I make what you want me to, you're not going to be happy. So I would rather say it. I would rather just say it like, look, I don't think this is going to look good. Or if I have this particular crystals, like, I mean, your crystals are, the crystals we ordered for you, I think that was like a brand new range, so I didn't really have them in stock. So we have to kind of improvise how that's going to look like, but most of the crystals we obviously have in stock. So it's super easy, as even just like putting the crystals on the fabric and being like, I don't think it works. Do you think it works? And then they're like, oh yeah, maybe not. And I'm like, because once I make the bikini by hand with like 2,000 crystals, and then it comes to you, and then you're like, this is not what I've expected. And I had the situation with one of the girls that ordered a green bikini that sent me a photo of the bikini on the stage. She said she wants exactly the same bikini, forgetting that obviously it's going to look different in the real life.
Yes.
Then the bikini arrived and she's like, oh, no, this is a completely different bikini. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And I actually had to like, it doesn't really matter. Like I've proved, is that what you want to say? I was like, this is what you've ordered. Like, sending the picture of the bikini, and the girl that she sent me the picture of, but it doesn't really, like, the end of the result is she wasn't happy. So then it's still on me to be like, okay, where do we go from here? Like, I can't just kind of leave you hanging, so definitely things like this teach me that I just rather be super straight and be like, look, I don't think this is going to work. This is how it looks on this piece of fabric. I will do it if you want me to do, but that kind of already set the tones that if this is going to arrive and this is not what you kind of, like, this is actually like clear. And I have my ring lamp and I'm like, look, on stage it's going to look different. Like, this light's going to look different. Then this is discussion which we even had the last time when you're like, it's blue bikini, and I'm like, no, it's freaking purple. And then you're like, I've sent it to the group of girls. This is what I love. You're like, everyone's like, fucking,
I think Karina's colorblind, which is unfortunate because she makes bikinis.
I know, but then I literally send you the bikini, a picture of the bikini is blue next to the picture of the bikini that you thought was blue, and you can see it's freaking purple. But I mean, this is what I deal every day. And then especially that on the stage when you have different lights, it's going to look differently. So it even looks in the different colors.
I was so shocked when you made the bikini for me, and it was obviously actually 2 colors, ombre, whatever it's called, and you sent me a video of it when I got it in person and what it looks like on stage, all three were completely different, you know. And when I got it, I was like, this is amazing, but not quite what I thought it was going to be, but it's amazing and it fits and it's great. And on stage and in those pictures, it was more than I anticipated, you know, because under the lights with the tan and the makeup, and yeah, it's just incredible. So I think people do need to kind of take it with a pinch of salt when they see it in person, and to realize under the lights, it looks completely different. Even, you know, you see pictures of your tan in real life and under the lights, completely different.
Can I just say, most of the time when your bikini arrives, I mean, you're like, you know, X amount of weeks deep into your prep and you look like death. Can I just also say that? That's your face. I mean,
and you're so pale, right? When you turn it
on.
on.
You're freaking, I know, and you're pale. Your face is like a little dragon, you know, like you're tired. Like, you're not, you know, also you look like a lollipop. Your head is massive. Like your hair hasn't been washed in 3 days. Dry shampoo is life of your pineapple.
Yeah.
And then you're like, this is not what I expected. Really? Magic. You think, you know, this is, I mean, stage light, it's always different. Always. So, if, like, imagine someone, you know, send me the picture of your bikini saying, I want exactly the same bikini, and then would get in the post what, like, exactly the same bikini before the stage, they would be like, no. And I'm like, it is the same. It really is, I promise.
My last question that I was asked is, how do you wash your bikini, especially the ones with connectors, because they can rust really easily?
I mean, the connectors I'm using, it's, I mean, maybe some other brands using Chinese ones, so good luck to you guys. Just run, like, just do a little bath in like a warm luke water and just soak them in, like wiggle, jiggle a little bit. You can clean the inside of the bikini and then air dry, and that's it. The kind of the little tip I can give it is to get the wet wipes, and after you come off the stage, before you stuff your face with all the chocolate and I don't know, whatever else you're doing after the stage. I mean, that's what I do. I just sit down and eat. Just wipe it off from the inside, and that's going to take a lot of your tan off, especially when you've been glazed and glued and stuff. It can get pretty nasty. But genuinely, look after your bikini like you just paid 400 quid for it. So don't chuck it into the suitcase, because this is the thing. Like, you have to look after your bikini.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just expect, this is the 3-row connectors we have, they reinforced, every single crystal is reinforced within like tapes of like metal behind it. So to break it, it's really difficult. So someone comes back to me saying, oh, I broke it. It was in the box. I'm like, you can just say to me, I'm not like, I'm still gonna say, I broke it. Like, I know what it takes to break those connectors, because I fly half across the world with them bikinis that I'm gonna wear with them connectors. Never since I started competing in like 2014, I never had a situation that my actual bikini connector broke.
I actually don't. The only time I wear my bikini is on stage. I don't take the risk in check-in. I have different bikinis for check-in that are the same cut, so my coach can still see what I'm going to look like, but I just don't want to ruin my bikini just in case.
I mean the bikinis, I mean, I have to be in a stage lean shape to get into my bikini anyway. Like, there's no way on earth that I'm putting my bikini like even like 5 weeks out. Wishful thinking. But I also adjust my own bikinis. I like unsew the little bits by the connectors and sew them back like a night before the show, because I want, and then this is the reason why I can't fit into them, because it's made on human Karina without any water.
When you're super dry.
When I'm dry as little raisin. I mean, you just get like a box like a plastic box. I actually used to send them in like plastic containers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got one from you in a plastic container.
Yeah, I know. But then like the feedback I had from a few of the customers that it looks like a lunchbox and it wasn't quite of the standard of the brand, which I get it. But at the same time, I'm just thinking, like, Han, you haven't showered in 2 days by the time you get on the stage.
It's very true. I actually use that box for all my stage makeup because I do my own makeup now, so it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I this is the box I usually travel with, and I invested like in like a nice shiny boxes, but every single time I send them, I'm like, I know this is the thing. I know as a competitor, I'm like, this is bullshit. It should have been plastic, so you can just chuck it in your suitcase.
Yeah,
it's there. You don't have to worry.
It doesn't get squashed.
It doesn't get squashed. The connectors won't break. You know.
Yeah, I think that all competitors are very highly neurotic anyway, so they just get so stressed over the littlest details. So I could like. Kudos to you for the bikini.
I know, but I mean, I had to like, especially at the beginning, it literally gave me anxiety sending the bikinis out and like waiting for the emails when they're like, you know, like I've got an account of Royal Mail, so I can see when I'm like signed for, and I'm like dying and
waiting for that message.
Honestly, at the beginning, I was super stressed about it. Now I'm just really, really chilled. Because I know that it's a massive overreacting, and I get it because you've been dieting for hundreds of years, and you're stressed, and you don't really know how to do it, and it's fine. Like if I fucked it up or if the size is bad, I'm not gonna leave you hanging anyway. So like I've built kind of something that I can do about it rather than stressing, because I'm not gonna make bikini one night. It's just not gonna happen. Like my seamstress needs to do it into the fabric. I don't tend to store a lot of fabrics because they're changing so quickly, and it's just a massive cost and also a lot of space that we don't have. So most of the time we'll just order the fabric as we go. And it's just not possible for me. For many reasons. Also because, I mean, yes, if we like in a deep competition season, I will work a lot more than your normal 9-to-5 job, and I get it. But I mean, at one point of running my own business, I had to realize that me sitting on my phone at 8 p.m. responding to messages and people like replying to you, it's kind of not normal. And if you do want to have a business, not a lifestyle, you're gonna have to change it, because otherwise you just literally build your own gold cage and here you go, you can go into it. That makes sense. Like it's quite difficult. And the other thing, when the competitor is asking me like, oh, you know, you have such a long break in between the seasons, and I'm just thinking, well, do you think like website marketing, packaging, like getting the deals with postage, like when do you think I'm going to do that, love?
Yeah. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Okay, we've only got 1 minute left, so I just want to say thank you. And anybody that wants to communicate with Karina about a bikini, you have to email Sparkle. You don't DM. No sliding in the DMs, guys.
You can DM, but please bear with me. It's going to take me a while to reply, but mostly please email.
And you can go on the Sparkle Bikini page and find the contact details there. Thank you so much, Karina. Literally, someone's just said this was amazing cardio motivation. Thank you. And I think we've covered absolutely everything you need to know about bikinis. So this will be on my live for 24 hours, but I'm going to put it on my YouTube, so it'll be there forever. Thank you, guys.
We're gonna watch this like in 10 years time, being like, we look so young.
Yeah. Me before Botox compared to me after Botox in 10 years.
I think the top up is needed.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bye.